What is the dumbest thing you've ever heard somebody say? For me, it was when I was working at a pizzeria. One of my coworkers put a bunch of clean dishes in the dirty dishwater. I was really confused as to why she did it. I asked her why and she said, I needed more room for clean dishes. She got fired about a week later. Not for that specifically, just all the stupid things she had done. In college, I was in a car accident with a 16-year-old girl. We were on a parkway, and I had just merged into the far right-hand lane, which was a turn-only lane. She was all the way over in the far left lane, which was 2 lanes over from me. Suddenly, she cut across the lane separating us, and rammed into my driver's side door. We pulled over, ensured that we were both okay, assessed the damages, and called the police. The police officer was asking for both of our explanations. He turned to her first and asked, "What happened?" She said, "Well, I looked over my left shoulder and I didn't see anyone, so I went." The police officer stopped writing for a moment and said, "Wait, you looked over your left shoulder, didn't see anyone, so you cut across 2 lanes of traffic on your right?" She answered with a straight face, "Yes, sir." He just wrote it down as she said it, but you could see the question marks forming above his head. That must have been a pretty painless conversation with your insurer. Pretty cut and dry. I've got 2. Same person. Girl in her mid-20s. Her EWW. The pig has teeth. Me, well yeah. How'd you expect it to eat? Her, I thought they just smelt things and that's how they ate. While watching how it's made, they're making wooden kayaks. Her, that won't float. Wood sinks. Me, what do you think boats were made of 300 years ago? Her, I dunno. Tell her boats are made out of metal. You'll blow her mind. Or concrete even. I used to live in a share house. The guy who lived on the bottom floor had his own bathroom. One day I happened to look in his bathroom and saw that the toilet was caked in a layer of brown scum, inside and outside the bowl. I asked him if he was going to clean it and he replied, as if I was an idiot, "No way, man. It's too gross." Flawless logic. I used to work at a convenience store while in undergrad, and we had a new employee we had to train. This fat woman was probably between 25-30 years old and had about 4 or 5 kids by different fathers. Our supervisor wanted us to show her the ropes, but before she left she said, "I want her glued to this register all day, so it would allow her to get familiar with the register." Well, the day goes by, and we have our closing duties, where we have to put beans out for the newspaper, throw out the garbage, sweep, etc. before we close the store at midnight. I ask her, "Hey, you wanna help us out?" In a very friendly, non-sarcastic way. She says, "No." I asked her, "Are you serious?" She says, "Supervisor said I have to be glued to the register and that's all I have to do." I just looked at her and said, "You can't be this stupid." I told her, "Yes, she said that, but you still have to help out." She simply restates she was told to stay at the register. This goes on for a bit, where I try to show her the error in her ways in a loud fashion. We ended up calling the supervisor, and she clarified the situation to the new employee, that she wanted her to focus on the register, but she still had to help out around the store. It was still part of her job. She just huffed and puffed on the phone, hung up, and helped us close the store. I couldn't believe that someone this much older than me acted like a 5th grader, and was responsible for the lives of children. Was waiting to hear about how she superglued herself to that spot. Oh, thank God I wasn't the only one waiting for that. Not my story, but still my favorite. In high school, my friend was going to an R-rated movie with his girlfriend, who had just turned 17. She was asked for her ID and said she didn't have it, so they went to a different movie. Later, she had her wallet out and he saw her driver's license in it. He said, "I thought you didn't have your ID." She said, "That smiled license. I was only 16 on that one." My friend actually got into a club that way. He was too young, showed his ID, but told the security guy it was an old ID, and he was actually 21. In his defense, he was freaking wasted. I don't know what the security guard was thinking though. I got a good one for you. While I was in college, I worked as a shift supervisor at Wendy's. It was lame and paid crappy, but the schedule worked with my school schedule. Anyways, So it was my job to put everyone in their stations and make sure that the various time sensitive duties got performed at the necessary times, like cleaning the fryer several times a night for yummy golden fries. My manager had hired a trio of guys who were on the ankle bracelet program. They were on probation for something. He had done this before. Those ankle bracelet guys never made it past a month. So, I have one of them stationed at the grill. At night, when the dining room closes, you have a limited number of people and the grill guy takes on fry duty. So he's standing there staring into the fryer. Just staring at it. I notice this and see he's watching lone fry that had gotten drop/left in there sizzling in the oil and spinning. But he was pretty intent on watching this thing. So I asked him if he was okay and he kinda snapped out of it like he was spacing out. 10 minutes later, I see him doing the same thing, but watching the meat cook on the grill. Again, space the hell out. So I called out to him, "Hey Derek, what you doing over there buddy?" He turns in to look at me and in a very serious tone says I'm getting ready to start thinking about flipping the meat. Laughing, I jokingly asked him if he was on drugs. He goes, "Yeah, dude, I took acid before work. I was a good guy and let him go home early with a cheeseburger and a Frosty no less." Trying to eat a Wendy's cheeseburger on acid sounds like a nightmare. My friend is really intelligent, but a complete ditz. We make fun of her all the time, in a very loving way, because of all the silly things she comes out with without thinking. Some of my favorites being, "Isn't it amazing how many different kinds of light bulb there are? And how dead was the body?" She surpassed herself last week though. We were talking about a fish she had when she was younger that she accidentally killed. Genuine accident. She was moving her guppies babies into a nursing box in the tank and didn't realize her angel fish was trapped between the box and the side of the tank until it was too late because her arm was in the way and was really upset about. Then she brightened, turned to me and said in absolute seriousness, "But it's okay because fish have got really short memories, haven't they? So it probably doesn't even remember me killing it now." Now that I think about it, it is pretty amazing how many kinds of light bulbs there are. Yeah, to be honest I kind of hate the poster for thinking that was an unreasonable thing to say. I was at the hospital for 5 days, got my appendix removed. I returned to school and my friend who had no clue I was gone comes up to me and asks where I was. I tell him the whole story of my stomach aches and crap. At the end of the story, this is exactly what he said. "Friend, I never went to the hospital, except for when I was born." Me, why? Have you never ever gotten sick before? Friend, when you're sick and at the hospital, they tell you fake crap. Like you've gotten the flu or you have some disease. They just try to make more money. When they inject you with drugs they don't tell you, but they put cancer in the drugs. They plant you with drugs. Me, are you kidding me? You're the biggest idiot I know. Why would they implant cancer into you? The whole point of being a doctor is to help people. Help the sick. Friend, that's what they want you to believe. It happens all the time. Especially when you go under, like into surgery or whatever. You had appendicitis, right? You have cancer in your system. I bet you within 3 years you'll get extremely sick. Why? Because the doctor put cancer into you. Me, you're an idiot. Friend, you know how you told me you got sick a lot when you were younger and how you were always in the hospital? You got lucky. The cancer they put was wrong and weak. I just walked away. Yes, I did spend a lot of my youth in the hospital, but it was mainly my allergies and asthma. That's a terrifying conspiracy theory. Easy one. Junior year English class in high school. I forget the assignment, but I know it had to do with developing an argument of some sort. Suddenly this girl comes up and states that animals can't feel pain. All of us look very quizzically at her, allowing her to continue. She said that the reason they can't feel pain is because they can't talk, so obviously they couldn't feel pain. The entire class sat apart. I work in a printing shop. This is a story from a while back. Let me set the scene. So today I'm in work and this middle-aged woman came in saying she needed to print off from a flash drive. Grand, so I showed her over to the self-service computer and plugged the stick into the USB slot for her because she couldn't find it herself despite being right in front of her. First warning sign. She says she needs to find exactly what files she needs to print, so instead of peering over her shoulder I leave her to her own devices. Over the course of about 2 hours, she manages to print a mere 60 pages with extensive help from the other lad I work with. She announces she's done. Great, we can finally get rid of her. I ask her to close all her files so the next customer won't see them. She manages this with great difficulty, closing them one by one instead of clicking close group. Second warning. When I come check on her again, she has become embroiled in a serious battle with Outlook Express, which she has opened by mistake. Now we don't use Outlook, so when you click the icon the first time, installer comes up saying welcome to the Outlook installer and gives the options next or cancel. She picks cancel, but is greeted by another window. Are you sure you want to quit the installer? Yes/no. For some reason she clicks no. Now doing that once by mistake is forgivable, but she did this about 7 times before I intervened. Cancel, no, cancel, no, cancel, no. You should click yes. Third warning. She then plugs out the flash drive, but is quite annoyed to find that the cap is missing. Oh, no problem. I'll have a look around for it now. About 10 minutes of searching later, I return to tell her that I can't find it anywhere. What do you mean you can't find it? That's ridiculous. How am I supposed to access my files now? Oh, your files are perfectly safe. It's just that cap that's missing. It's not that important really. The files are kept on the stick itself. She was furious. I had clearly offended her great wisdom on this matter. No, that's ridiculous. I know my files will be damaged if I don't have the cap. Viruses will be able to get into it now. Trust me, I'm quite good with computers. I was speechless. How do you respond to that? 5 years of working here and that's easily the most off the wall thing I've ever heard. Viruses don't really work that way. Flash drives are quite rugged really. Losing the cap won't make much of a difference. I don't believe that for a second. I'm going to call my friend who knows about this kind of thing. So she rings her equally technologically inept friend, possibly an Amish person, who informs her that she is indeed right and that the files could well leak out if she doesn't cap the flow immediately. At this stage she's demanding a new flash drive for free or for the copying charges to be waived. Obviously myself and the guy I work with think this is ridiculous. It's only the cap and we certainly didn't touch it. How do we know she hasn't just lost it herself? In the end I copied her files onto an old flash drive we had lying around, after threats of her contacting the commissioner about this. Because there's obviously a commissioner who deals with this kind of thing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of how I met possibly the most technologically illiterate person in Ireland.